we'll go to the next session, topic. This is significance of TWILIGHT study in clinical practice, a very important topic, and no other person could do justice to this except Dr. Pandey.
My topic today is the significance of TWILIGHT study in clinical practice. We know that the frequency and prognostic implications of bleeding events after PCI has always been underestimated. In the past 2 decades, the ischemic events have become half because of aggressive antiplatelet therapy, aggressive antithrombotic therapy, routine use of primary angioplasties, and rescue angioplasties and pharmacoinvasive therapy. However, the hospital bleeding has doubled, and that is again because of more potent P2Y12 inhibitors, more aggressive antithrombotic therapy, including GP2B3A antagonists used in the cath lab, followed by the low molecular weight heparin in the ICU post PCI. In the ADAPT-DAY study, the out-of-hospital bleeding mainly occurred in the GI tract. Almost 2/3 of these events were in the GI tract. And we know that BARC2, BARC3, and BARC5, these are the bleedings which we are always worried that a clinically overt sign of hemorrhage, which is actionable, significant drop in hemoglobin or need for inotropes, etc. And last, a fatal bleeding. We are always worried and afraid of these kind of bleedings. And if you look at the outcome, a comprehensive evaluation of prognostic impact of GI bleeding was performed in the ACUITY trial. And the GI bleeding is a significant independent predictor of outcomes at 30 days with a hazard ratio of 4.8, almost 5 times more mortality than those patients who don't bleed, 2 times more non-fatal MI, and 2 times more composite ischemic outcomes. Similar data has also been shown from the Burn PCR registry. The moment you have GI bleed in the hospital or within 30 days of the PCI, it is indeed a bad news. And therefore, we have been focusing on how to reduce the bleeding episodes before procedure, during procedure, and after procedure. But my today's topic is on after the procedure. And here, the choice of DAPT, the duration of DAPT, and modulation of DAPT is extremely important. Modulation meaning cutting off the aspirin as quickly as possible after PCI within 1 week, 1 month, or 3 months, depending on the patient, whether you are doing a stable subset with a drug, a bare metal stent, drug-eluting stent with a which is a polymer-free or degradable polymer stent, and so on. So it is very important that somebody need to address this. And TWILIGHT was the largest study done to date to specifically design the demonstration of the reduction in bleeding with ticagrelor monotherapy versus ticagrelor plus aspirin beyond 3 months in high-risk patients treated with PCI. So the study design is known to all of you, and the primary composite endpoint was the time to the first occurrence of clinically relevant bleeding. Secondary endpoint was all-cause death, non-fatal MI, and stroke. And of course, there were some exploratory endpoints which I would not really focus. If you look at the baseline characteristics of this study, almost 1/3 of the patients were, 1/4 were males, 1/3 were, 40% were diabetic, and almost 20% patients had chronic kidney disease. And what did it show? The major bleeds with which we are worried about, BARC type 2, type 3, and type 5 bleeds, came down by almost 45% without significant increase in any ischemic outcomes, including all-cause mortality, non-fatal MI, and non-fatal stroke. So the TWILIGHT study among high-risk patients who underwent and completed 3 months of dual antiplatelet therapy, ticagrelor monotherapy was associated with a lower incidence of clinically relevant bleeding than when it was combined with aspirin beyond 3 months without significant increase in the risk of death, MI, or stroke. Then TWILIGHT ACS study, patients of ACS who were treated in a similar manner, and you can see here that in the aspirin ticagrelor DAPT arm, the bleeding was almost double as compared to the monotherapy arm. So therefore, this study again concluded that in patients with or without non-ST elevation ACS who have completed initial 3 months course of DAPT following PCI, ticagrelor monotherapy showed clinically meaningful reduction in bleeding events without any increasing in the ischemic events. Then what about complex PCI? Complex PCI means multi-vessels treated, 3 lesions treated, multiple stents, total stent length more than 60 millimeter, bifurcation, use of atherectomy, CTOs, and bypass graft PCI. As interventionalists, we are always worried of stopping DAPT prematurely in these patients. But look at this. Even in this group of patients, the risk of adverse events 12 months after randomization, bark bleeding significantly reduced, bark 3 or 5 bleeding significantly reduced, and death, MI, or stroke, no significant difference at all. So again, complex PCI twilight highlight says that after 3 months of aspirin, ticagrelor, DAPT, de-escalating to ticagrelor monotherapy reduces significant bleeding without any risk of increasing the ischemic events with continued DAPT. What about CKD? Here there was a bad news. In CKD, bleeding events definitely by de-escalation decreased, but there was a significant increase in the ischemic events and myocardial infarction. So the conclusion was there was no net clinical benefit of de-escalating the DAPT beyond 3 months in patients with CKD, particularly when the GFR was less than 50. So about diabetes, again, significant benefit. So diabetic patients again benefited significantly with this kind of therapy, de-escalation of therapy beyond 3 months to ticagrelor monotherapy. So in patients with diabetes undergoing PCI, de-escalation beyond 3 months works in favor in getting net clinical benefit by reducing major bleeds, particularly GI bleeds, access site bleeds, and even bleeds because of hidden cancers in diabetic patients. So what about high bleeding risk patients? We know age more than 75, previous bleeding diathesis, patients who are on concomitant therapy with steroids, NSAIDs, etc., recent trauma, chronic liver disease, chronic kidney disease, and active cancer. These are the patients with high bleeding risk. So in patients with high bleeding risk, again, the net clinical benefit was even higher than in patients with average or low bleeding risk by de-escalation of DAPT beyond 3 months to ticagrelor monotherapy. In my center, which is Hinduja Satellite Center and our principal hospital, we have started de-escalating the therapy beyond 3 months in all stable subsets, in patients with ACS where only a single stent is used, and in all high bleeding risk subset of patients. And when we analyze our data, which is at the moment in being considered for publication, this data shows close to around 700 patients, shows that only 2 subgroups, patients with multiple stents, which are non-biodegradable polymer, and patients with CKD, no other subset showed increase in the ischemic events. The Twilight Synergy study, where stents were compared with the biodegradable polymer and non-biodegradable polymer, again, it showed no significant difference in ischemic events. So guidelines also have changed. Guidelines have been reducing the length of DAPT progressively over the last 6 years. And we all know that if the patient is stable angina, you undergo a PCI, you can de-escalate DAPT as early as 1 month. So 2017 ESC guidelines, if you see the duration of DAPT in PCI, it all depends upon whether it's a stable subset or acute coronary syndrome. With acute coronary syndrome with high bleeding risk, you can still discontinue at 3 months. In stable subsets, certainly at 3 months. And in stable subset with high bleeding risk, as early as even 1 month. So, my friends, DAPT was an old era. All trials of use of NOACs in atrial fibrillation patients undergoing a PCI for acute coronary syndrome like ViewDuel PCI, Pioneer AF, and Augustus, all the trials have shown us only one single truth. Aspirin, when is an integral part of DAPT or triple therapy, is the culprit of bleeding. And sooner you omit aspirin, the better you are in terms of bleeding risk. And these are the 3 trials which have shown the same thing. So the highlights of this are ticagrelor monotherapy associated with lower bleeding or ischemic events, patients with or without NST MI, patients undergoing complex PCI, patients with or without diabetes undergoing PCI, patients with CKD, yes, ischemic events increased, but there was no net clinical benefit, but it was not terribly inferior. Patients with high bleeding risk, certainly. Elderly patients, frail patients, certainly, and irrespective of whether you use stent which are with biodegradable polymer or not. So I conclude my talk here, and thank you very much for patient listening. I hope I finished in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ponde. That was wonderful. And now we have the last talk by Dr. Iyengar.